Yes, I would like you to tell me about what you're doing here today for the high school, the hospital, and the children.
You know, when my, as myself, I was not educated much, though I'd been to schools. Naturally, inferiority complex grew in me when I was invited to teach yoga in foreign countries.
Mm.
So I went to foreign countries in 1954. So I had to such a inferiority complex developed in me due to want of language. Today, of course, is a different matter. The translators are available, so that fear complexes do not arise today. But at my time, nobody knew my language, so nobody could translate. So I developed the inferiority complex that when persons like Yehudi Menyan, celebrities, have invited me, so the people must be under the impression that I'm a great celebrity. But unfortunately, I was not. I was only a practitioner, a teacher. But even at that time, I had a very good control on the subject because local people knew that I was on the top. So when I went there, teaching is quite different because language does not needed much in the art of teaching. But when I had to give lectures, demonstrations, problems came. I said I could not address the public and I never knew how to address also. Then I realized that education is a must. Because without education, confidence do not come.
And how do you do education now with children in India? Because you had an experience in Pune.
Yeah.
It was very
So
difficult.
all my children are educated,
Yes.
they're all graduates, but I am not. I have not even entered the steps of the college. But my children all have entered, so they're all graduates. But I am not a graduate.
And you say that children, when you teach yoga to children, they are in the moment.
Ah,
Adults are not in the moment.
yes.
And you look at their eyes.
Yes.
Teach with their eyes. You cannot do that with adults. Why?
Because eyes are the direct perception, get the idea faster. That's why we use the eyes. So therefore, as you asked me the question, I thought that here when I came to the village, about after many years, I saw the children wandering here and there. I thought it's very unfair that nobody, even the government, is not taking interest. So in 1968, I thought let the children be educated to read at least ABCD. So that's why you saw that primary school in front of the Patanjali temple. So I constructed that and made children to learn. At least let them learn to go to school, come home. At least they are in contact with the communities. So 1968, for children I started because children's age at the time is 6. So 7th standard, so 14, 13 years. Then there was a problem. Adolescent age is a very important transformative age. So if the children are not thought of, what will happen to these youngsters? Because they are all characterless people, do not know how to talk, how to mix with people. Then I thought I should give them higher education. So about 6 years ago, I built this place because this was an empty area, and we formed a trust and requested the village people. So village people agreed, gave their consent, and we approached the government. So we purchased this land by the government because they were about to auction this place. Villagers, objected that it cannot be auctioned. They said, we have got a temple, there's a temple there. So that temple is is very essential for us. So you cannot auction it. So they had in their mind that it should be purchased by people who do some good work. So when I spoke to them that I would like to build a college, so all the villagers wrote a letter that we have absolutely no objection. So the government of Karnataka, we approached, they said if the villagers have given their consent, we will be very happy to dispose of this land. Because nothing was growing in this land. Then the government was kind enough to offer at a 50% reduction rate than their original rate. I thought it's a good idea, let us buy. So it's about 22 acres of land we purchased.
But I see there's many children, and did violence went down with yoga and children?
Yes, there is a yoga hall, you must have seen.
Yes.
So the only compulsory subject, I told them that all children should undergo yoga training so that they can understand their body, they can understand their mind, how it functions. So that's why I built a hall in the school itself. There is a teacher who teaches regularly. So yoga and education I combined.
Do you think this can spread around the world, like in Europe, in the United States?
Yes, yes.
They could put yoga, that
Yes.
will help
Yes.
children in education?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's how it educated. So all these kids started improving, and they won. Even this school has won second prize in the state competition in yoga.
What was the first resistance you had when you went to the West to teach yoga? There was many resistance
In the beginning,
in the beginning. After it
in
was changed?
1954, even I was in France.
Mm.
I gave a demonstration in France also at that time.
It was
There
difficult.
was a lot of opposition in the beginning. But then when I started giving demonstration, I never spoke on philosophy. I never used the philosophical terms while teaching or while giving a demonstration. I spoke of the importance of the physical health and mental harmony,
Mental harmony.
not beyond. So when I started explaining how the importance of health and the balance of mind, so it attracted people. In 1972, government of England made it yoga a subject because they came and saw me, and they told me that you should not use any philosophical word. Then only we accept. So we want to see, and the committee members came and visited a class. I said, you are welcome, you can see what I teach. So they heard. So all the members said, so this is a practical way of his explaining, so it can be introduced in schools and colleges. That's how the West took it in 1973, yoga.
I see.
And adult education also took yoga. And that's how yoga became popular after the government of England introduced yoga as a essential subject to keep health and harmony. And then the America took it, then the France took it, then it went on spreading everywhere.
Yes, because they have problem between mental and intellectual body.
Yes.
Here it's two separate, mental, intellectual body.
No, because in the Western, there is a vast difference between mind and intelligence. For example, mind is just like a public relation officer who introduces the owner to the public and public to the owner. So mind does the job. Mind's job is to just connect the body to the intellect and leaves the work of the intellect, because intellect is the master of the mind. So as such, introduces the intellect in the process of presentation to various parts of the body, and the mind's work is over. Then the intellect and the body work together so that the harmony between the intelligence and the body comes closer to each other. So the mind becomes a subordinate part. So directly the intellect comes in contact with the body and guides the body how it has to improve each and every part, each and every cell, how it has to be looked at. And that's how this way when I was explaining, it became very, very popular.
There's something else you said, it's very interesting, like sensuality and spirituality,
Yes.
like a coin, two-faced. Can you explain?
Well,
a
if
little?
you ask me,
Yes.
it's a very interesting question which you have put me, but you will be surprised to know that up to 1965, yoga was not received even in the Western countries with respect. So when you speak of sensuality, they were in the early days, in 1950s, even both in America as well as in Europe, wine, wealth and women were the three most important things of enjoyment there. Then I thought, if I speak philosophy, they will not accept me at all. So I started telling in a different way that those who smoke, I said, I tell you to smoke, but find out whether your lungs have the capacity to accept your smoke. So I used the same methodology. I went through the current, with the current of the emotional current of the people, and then I used to tell them, if you want to enjoy a woman, have you got power to enjoy? So yoga gives that. So your nicotine you are taking, yoga makes you to take not nicotine but oxygen. Which one you prefer? So this way I went through the emotional current of the West, and then it took me several years for me to change, transform them, how to think of spiritual life, because sensual life is momentary, spiritual joy is permanent. Which one you want? Then I went on explaining, and that's how I built up the spiritual character after 10 to 15 years of my practices in the Western countries.
Did you understand the first, like in the beginning of Yoga Sutra?
Pardon?
In the beginning of Yoga Sutra,
Ah.
Patanjali said yoga is stillness of mind.
Yes.
Did you understand that?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
stillness of the mind?
Is there, but it cannot come to all. But in the later stages, Patanjali explains how to bring the mind under control. The sutra, say when you use in olden days, they were writing the books, the preview and the review of the book were to start with. They said, what is yoga? Discipline is yoga. So that discipline brings through yoga, you can develop through yoga. By that your mind becomes still. When the mind becomes still, you are with the self. So the entire gamut of the Yoga Sutras are in the first three sutras.
So you say like you counter affliction of body, you can counter affliction of
That's
mind.
all. So they conclude. Then they define. Today the writers do not do like that. They go step by step to show the end. But in the early days, all the books, all the scriptures, they explain the meaning, the value, and the value of it, and how it can be controlled, and the effect of that. So first three sutras covers the entire field of yoga. Then Patanjali explains in detail how to get this thing.
And today, you know, there's 17 million people in the United States
Yes, sir.
practicing
Why?
yoga. There's many business.
Yes.
Are you scared for the future of
No,
yoga?
I'm not
Or it's
scared.
okay?
I'm not scared. I'm not scared at all. See what happens is because I said as I go with the current, I have to go with the current. But I tell them, if you want to commercialize, make it commercialized, but do not exploit. If you want to make a margin of profit 10% or 15%. But for my students, I tell them, even if you charge more, give them more than what you take. So this is the philosophy, practical philosophy, which all my students follow even today. That's why they are very sincere, they are very honest we integrated in their approaches in the teaching. they go out of their way to explain more and more. Because I told them, that is honesty. The honesty is give more than what you take. 1% more than what you take. That means you are following the ethical discipline.
And teacher should adapt to the student,
Yes.
because sometimes they're very strict and they have their own.
At the same time, yes, learning their emotional feeling, how to build them up. That's a practical aspect. So that is how I built up yoga. So I'm not worried about commercialism, because one day when you make a start, any student who wants to practice uses his discriminative power and wants to find out which is the best. Then commercialism does not work. Quality too works. So quality comes important. Now they have tried for quantity. So in my practice, I said give quantity and quality, both should be of equal value. So I give in the quantity more quality in each quantity. And that's why yoga, Iyengar yoga became popular on account of the quality in the quantity which I present.
Were you surprised that it became so famous?
No.
in Kahara? Is it
Yes, if
surprise
you
for
ask me, yes.
When you started, you
If
didn't.
you ask me, yes. Because when I went to London in 1954, I had only two students. Yehudi Benyan from UK and Mark Osinski, pianist from Poland. No others came.
And you had Indra Devi
Then,
later.
huh?
Indra Devi later.
Indira Devi was my colleague.
Oh yes.
She learned from my guru. So that's how I went on giving the best so that people can be attracted towards yoga. And then I started classes, public classes. So started giving people how they can develop. So even in the class, only 4 students came to start with. Now you know millions and millions of them.
And finally today, the Western science, medical people, scientific, they study yoga. They say it's for the first time.
To be honest, lots of medical associations in America, in England, in Israel, they are doing a lot of research work on Iyengar yoga, which you must have heard. And the report is very, very good, saying that something is there in his method which gives life to people. In America, old people are educated now through yoga, and they are saying at least we have got some confidence that we would like to live.
So when you start yoga, you have to practice
Yes.
all your life, every day.
According to their ages.
Yes.
So I minimized. I found out various methodology, means, according to their condition, what they can do, what they cannot do. So I knew, then I invented lots of props. Because old people have no confidence
And people with
to
bad-
stand even.
Yeah.
So I thought that how to create confidence in the old people. So I began innovating lot of props. So the old people also started doing with courage, with confidence. And that's why it became a popular subject that people can do yoga, they can relax at the same time, they can extend their body at the same time, they can relax at the same time. So Iyengar yoga is the best. So that's how it became popular.
I have a last question, technical. And how do you treat the brain as an object?
yeah.
How do you treat the brain as an object and the body as the subject?
You know, we are all work from the brain more. So we have made body as the slave of the brain. And because we do use the brain, the brain needs tremendous blood supply. So on account of that, exhaustion comes from the overactivity of the brain. So I found out some of the poses, like Setavanda Sarvangasana, the Viparita Dandasana, wherein the brain automatically becomes as a witness, not as an actor. So from that I told them how you can witness what goes on in your body. So I differentiated when the brain should act only after judgment, to study the right side and the left side, comparing the right with the left, left with the right, which is where intelligence flows, where the attention is not, where the attention is. So at that time, the brain has to act to make that part which is not active. How to make it active? Then immediately you have to witness. Have I brought that attention on that part? So you have to witness. So I taught them how to make the brain as a witnesser. That's an art of teaching. That's an art of practical methodology.
It's like the difference between stimulative
Ah.
and irritative. It's very complicated for us to understand all this.
Appears complicating.
Yes.
But any student you ask, they say we understand very easily now.
Thank you very
Thank
much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
There,
It's like the food also is important, you say.
Very
And
important,
For food
very
is for mind.
yes.
Because
But unfortunately, because I was a very poor man, I could not get food to eat. I said, how can I speak on a diet when I did yoga without food for days and days? I lived in water for days. So if you ask me, I say yes. Now, I will say, I will not give, even now, I will not give importance to the food. I say, whatever you eat, can you digest it?
there was in New Delhi, you did a conference with the Dalai Lama.
Yes.
And you said at one point about health. There's five different compartments.
Yeah.
There's ethical health, conscious health,
No, physical health,
physical health.
ethical health, mental health, intellectual health, conscious health, conscientious health, divine health. So these are the 7 compartments of health. Just keeping fit is not health. You may be healthy, but your liver may not be functioning. Or you may be good, but circulation may not be good. So we have to realize all these things. So I said, yoga builds up from the physical, moral, mental health towards intellectual and spiritual health. Spiritual health is divine health.
Divine.
So even the very self has to say, I am healthy.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you so much.